The top stories tonight in Y News. Many essential workers were stuck in heavy traffic on the first day of another enhanced community quarantine in Metro Manila.
Cash aid for Metro Manila residents eligible to receive assistance from the government will likely be distributed next week.
The Philippines recorded more than 10,000 new COVID-19 infections today, the highest in nearly 4 months, as active cases soared to more than 74,000.
The highly contagious coronavirus Delta variant has now been detected in all 17 cities and municipalities of Metro Manila.
The Quezon City government disapproves requiring its residents to be vaccinated against COVID-19 first before they are issued a quarantine pass.
The Department of the Interior and local government denies any political motive in its show cause order against Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Friday, August 6, 2021. I am Herlene Delgado. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. The first day of the enhanced community quarantine in Metro Manila caused long lines of vehicles on major thoroughfares today as authorities set up more checkpoints. With a long traffic jam, police officers are reminded to exercise maximum tolerance in dealing with motorists. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
Thousands of police personnel were mobilized to man quarantine control points in Metro Manila as the ECQ takes effect today. Philippine National Police Chief Police General Guillermo Eleazar says the number of authorized persons outside of residence or uppers increased compared to last year's ECQ. That is why Eleazar reminded policemen on the ground to maintain maximum tolerance in dealing with health protocol violators.
Ando pa rin yung maximum tolerance and our personnel are all reminded in spite na talaga napaka-trabaho or sabihin natin na napakahirap ng ginagawa nila, andun lagi yung pasensya, maximum tolerance, and the respect and the courtesy that is given to the public must always be there.
Eleazar also reminds stranded non-workforce uppers that they cannot enter Metro Manila. Workforce uppers are essential workers like healthcare workers and employees of the companies and industries that are allowed to operate under ECQ. They are allowed to go out and cross borders.
Mag-iintay na sila ng after ng ECQ. In fact, even last week, nung nag-transition tayo from GCQ with heightened restriction to GCQ with heightened and additional restriction, yun, close na natin yung border, yung ating outer perimeter ng NCR Plus bubble. Ang reason kasi noon, habang nagpe-prepare ang Metro Manila for ECQ, ayaw natin na magkaroon ng exodus na may lalabas at papasok dito sa ating bubble area.
The PNP chief added that police manning checkpoints could just deny if they are found violators of the upper rules. However, local ordinances will be implemented to help protocol violators.
Huwag papasukin, huwag padaanin itong mga hindi naman dapat na dadaan dyan. And then, kung talagang merong mga ibang pang violation, that's the time na pwede nating arrestuin sila.
1,203 police personnel are manning 89 quarantine controlled points or QCPs or checkpoints within Metro Manila. A total of 4,346 PNP personnel were also deployed for the implementation of uniform curfew hours. In other areas outside the NCR Plus bubble, the PNP deployed 9,180 cops in 1,103 QCPs. Aside from manning checkpoints, thousands of cops were also fielded in vaccination centers and quarantine facilities. Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Authorized persons outside of residence or APORs are generally classified into two, the work for APORs and the consumer APORs. So how do these two classifications differ during the ECQ period? According to the Philippine National Police, workforce APORs are considered as essential workers like healthcare workers and employees of the companies and industries that are allowed to operate under ECQ. They are also allowed to go out and cross borders. Consumer APORs, on the other hand, are those who are allowed to avail of goods and services of companies and industries that are allowed to operate under the ECQ, but they are not allowed to cross the borders of the city or municipality where they live. Consumer APORs are encouraged to avail of goods within their locality. Now, what documents do APORs need to bring? For worker APORs, they need to bring their employment ID and a certificate of employment to be able to pass through checkpoints. For consumer APORs, they need to bring a quarantine pass if required by the local government unit of their residence. If a worker APOR needs to be ushered and fetched by a private vehicle driven by someone who is not an APOR, the driver must be able to present the worker APOR's certificate of employment, which indicates the name of the designated driver, the description of the vehicle, and the contact number of the APOR's employer, as well as the business permit of the APOR's employer. Meanwhile, people who will be going out of their homes to get vaccinated, they must bring their vaccination card or be able to present a text message confirming their vaccine appointment.
Meanwhile, motorists experience heavy traffic and long lines at checkpoints set up in strategic areas within the National Capital Region on the first day of the ECQ re-implementation. Several motorists were even prevented from passing through the boundaries. JP Nunez reports.
Essential workers entering borders in Metro Manila waited almost 3 hours of traffic before passing quarantine-controlled checkpoints. Law enforcers strictly check if motorists are authorized person outside of residence or APORs, while some non-APORs were not allowed to pass the border for not having the proper documents.
Inagahan ko na nga, para sabi ko 8:30 dadating na ako doon. Ewan ko kung anong oras na, naubos na yung oras. Damihan kaya nila. Bilisan nila.
Pinalingan lang naman ako, kasi daw taga-batasan naman daw ako. Pagbibigyan niya ako ng chance ngayon lang. Ayaw ko kung makakabalik pa ako.
John Amper, a grocery store employee, was forced to complete his requirements to be able to pass the San Mateo Rizal, Batasan, Quezon City border.
Hindi siya pinapapasok sa kasi yung COE niya, hindi pa napiprint. Kailangan COE nila bago pumasok sa naharap na niya ng mga pulisan natin, bawal pumasok talaga. Nakiusap po kami, i-print kasi namin yung COE nila.
Meanwhile, jeepney drivers complain losing profit for the long lines.
3 oras na kaming nakapila rito eh. Sobrang traffic. Siguro tigil na siguro sa biyahe, uwi na lang. Talo eh. Logay sa diesel.
According to Philippine National Police Chief General Guillermo Eliazar, policemen may only conduct random inspection if heavy traffic occurs in borders.
Kasama po yun doon sa talang sinasabi natin na sakripisyo ng ating mga kababayan, pero binigyan natin po ng direktiba naman at instruction ng ating mga chiefs of police or unit commanders na mag-implement tayo ng tinatawag nating random checking kung talagang mahaba na. Meaning to say, to a certain point, certain time, talagang i-check mo. Ayan, and then i-release mo kung tukod na.
These checkpoints are being conducted in regional, provincial, and city borders to be able to control the movement of unauthorized persons entering and leaving the NCR. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, has announced the suspension of face-to-face training and assessments in ECQ areas. TESDA Secretary Isidro La Peña has ordered all TESDA technology institutions and technical vocational institutions to suspend face-to-face classes and assessments in ECQ and Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine, or MECQ areas. La Peña encourages affected centers to shift to online and virtual modes in conducting training and assessment during this period. Meanwhile, to help residents affected by the hard lockdown in Metro Manila, the government has released funds for the promised cash assistance. Low-income individuals and families may receive the financial aid by next week. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
The Department of Budget and Management has released a total of 10.894 billion pesos amount of financial assistance for individuals and households severely affected by the reimposition of the enhanced community quarantine in the National Capital Region from August 6 to 20, 2021. In a statement, DBM said the total funding requirement was charged from the certified savings of fiscal year 2020 continuing appropriations, and the cash aid will be directly released by the Bureau of Treasury to the concerned local government units through their authorized government servicing banks. According to DILG Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya, they will issue the guidelines on the cash distribution.
I am confident na sa susunod na linggo ay masisilimulan na po ang pamabigay ng ayuda ng ating mga local government units.
Affected low-income individuals and families are expected to receive 1,000 pesos per person and a maximum of 4,000 pesos per household. The DILG appeals to the public to give local governments a time to make the necessary logistical preparations for the cash aid distribution. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
For those watching our 24/7 live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
The highly contagious Delta coronavirus variant has been detected in all cities and municipalities in Metro Manila. Meanwhile, 8 cities in the capital have been placed under alert level 4 for COVID-19. Aiko Miguel explains why.
The COVID-19 Delta variant has been detected in all cities in Metro Manila according to the Department of Health. Of the 119 newly recorded Delta variant cases across the country, 8 are from the National Capital Region.
New local cases were from Regions 2, Region 7, Region 9, Region 11, Calabarzon, and all National Capital Region areas now have a local Delta case.
Based on the DOH report, of the 450 total Delta variant cases in the Philippines, 12 are active cases. This means they are still being treated and could transmit the virus to other people. 4 of those active Delta variant cases are from the NCR. As the country continues to experience a health crisis, the government has to ramp up measures for its COVID-19 response. Now, the DOH has set alert level classifications for COVID-19. The alert levels are based on case transmission, healthcare utilization rate, and presence of the Delta variant in the area.
So these alert levels will give us triggers, kung ano po yung mga kailangan na natin gawin at saka kung ano yung mga flagged areas natin. Alert level 1 po, ang alert levels po is based on the case transmission. It is also based on the healthcare utilization. So kasama po dyan, may supplemental consideration kami, that is the presence of the Delta variant.
Alert Level 1 is for areas with low COVID-19 cases, less than 50% healthcare utilization rate, and without Delta variant cases detected. Alert Level 2 is set for areas with almost 50% healthcare utilization rate and with Delta variant cases recorded. Alert Level 3 is for areas with almost 70% utilized healthcare system, with or without the presence of the Delta variant. And Alert Level 4 is for areas with increasing cases and have over 70% utilized healthcare system.
Alert Level 4 areas are those whose case classification have reached moderate to critical risk and whose utilization rate of either their total COVID-19 or ICU bed utilization are more than 70%.
Currently, there are 37 areas in the country under Alert Level 4. 8 of those are in Metro Manila. These are the cities of Las Piñas, Muntinlupa, Quezon, Taguig, Malabon, Makati, and San Juan, and the municipality of Pateros.
Pag Alert Level 1, usually we are at that preparatory stage. But when you talk about Alert Level 4, you should already do our plans, no, for us to be able to manage the situation, like expanding beds should be done from Alert Level 2 to Alert Level 4.
The DOH maintains its position on the strict adherence to the minimum public health standards and the ramping up of the country's vaccination program to cut the transmission of COVID-19 variants. According to the Health Department, while the ECQ is implemented in areas with a prominent rise of COVID-19 cases and presence of the Delta variant, mobility of people will be reduced in order to prepare the country's hospitals and facilities for the possible influx of COVID-19 patients who urgently need medical attention. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippines logged 10,623 new cases of COVID-19 today, bringing the nationwide tally to 1,638,345. In its latest bulletin, the DOH said the number of active infections in the country has reached 74,297. Of this, 94.8% are mild, 1.8% are moderate, 1.2% are asymptomatic, 1.8% are severe, and 1% are in critical condition. The DOH said 5 accredited testing laboratories failed to submit data on time, while 1 was not operational on August 4. Meanwhile, total recoveries climbed to 1,535,375 after 3,127 more patients recuperated from the viral respiratory disease. The death toll, however, rose to 28,673 with 247 new fatalities. Data from the Department of Health also showed that 62% of the country's ICU beds are occupied and 44% of ventilators are being used. In the National Capital Region, 61% of the ICU beds are occupied while 45% of the ventilators are in use. The DOH also noted increases in the number of isolation and ward beds in use. The agency reiterated its call to the public to adhere to public health protocols and get vaccinated when it is their turn.
The National Task Force Against COVID-19 will conduct a probe on the alleged initiative to sabotage the government's COVID-19 vaccination drive. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
The National Task Force Against COVID-19 warned those who are behind the chaos and disruption in some vaccination sites yesterday. Many people flocked to various vaccination sites in Manila, Las Piñas, and Antipolo after some individuals shared fake news saying that people will be arrested and would not receive financial aid during the enhanced community quarantine if they are unvaccinated. In Manila, loads of people were allegedly escorted in buses.
Maawa naman po kayo sa ating bansa. Maawa naman po kayo sa ating mga kababayan.
There were also who created chaos and made people to panic in the vaccination sites. In Las Piñas City, apart from fake news, some people who jammed the vaccination centers are not residents of the city.
Meron pang reports na may mga bus na nakasakay yung mga magpapabakuna at dinala sa iba't ibang bakuna center. So as the DILG, hindi po namin pwedeng ibaliwala, no? We have to get to the bottom of this and hopefully nga po ma-dispel ito, no? But just in case na merong ganitong ang efforts, this must be thoroughly investigated. At both the NBI and the PNP have joined forces to investigate this matter.
The National Task Force is looking into reports of an attempt to sabotage the government's vaccination drive.
Para sa mga iba naman nating kababayan na ang objective lamang ay manggulo. Huwag naman po sana. Hirap na hirap po ang ating mga kababayan ngayon. Hirap na hirap po ang bansa dito sa threat ng Delta variant. Sana naman, huwag naman nilang gagawin yon. At warning niya rin ito, dahil meron pong mga report na natanggap si Secretary Galvez, kami po ay nag-usap kaninang umaga, meron po tayong natatanggap na unverified report na kailangan imbestigahan po natin na meron daw pong mga masasamang elemento na nadyang magsabotahe ng mga vaccination site, lalo na sa mga mall sa Las Piñas, Antipolo, sa Maynila at iba pang lugar.
The NTF once again clarified it is not mandatory to get vaccinated since the country has no enough vaccine doses to inoculate all eligible individuals. NTF also promised to hold accountable those who would disrupt the vaccination program of the government. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, the sixth lockdown for Melbourne has triggered protesters to march through the city and has led to clashes with the police. Joselito Liquido will give us the details live. Joselito?
Mariel, hundreds of anti-lockdown protesters took the streets of Melbourne last night as the city is sent into its sixth lockdown. The crowd met at Flinders Street at around 7 p.m. and moved to Swanson Street, some with no mask on, chanted freedom and no more lockdown. Around 400 people were protesting at the CBD at one point. Assistant Commissioner Luke Cornelius said that the real concern is serial protesters who are not protesting against the lockdown but are taking this opportunity to pick a fight with the police. Victoria Police is warning people of being manipulated into joining these demonstrations organized by hardcore groups as they take actions against 31 people, 6 of which were fined for breaching health directions. According to Assistant Commissioner Cornelius, a police officer was pushed and repeatedly kicked down by protesters and suffered minor scrapes and cuts. Assistant Commissioner Cornelius is urging people to be aware of protest organizers who are more interested in having violent encounters with the police than helping the community deal with the virus. Riel?
Thank you, Joselito Liquido reporting live. China vowed to make efforts to provide the world with 2 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccines this year and donate $100 million to COVAX to promote global vaccine provision amid the rampaging Delta variant. Chinese President Xi Jinping made the announcement in a written address to the first meeting of a forum on international cooperation on COVID-19 vaccines. Xi said he expects the forum to further boost fair vaccine accessibility worldwide, boost solidarity among developing countries, and contribute to the success in the fight against the novel coronavirus. Hundreds of millions of Chinese shots, the vast majority of which are from Sinopharm and Sinovac, have already been administered to people in many countries across the world. U.S. President Joe Biden has offered a temporary safe haven to citizens of Hong Kong, citing compelling foreign policy reasons. Annie Mancilia tells us why live. Yes, Annie, please go ahead.
Mariel, thousands of Hong Kong nationals who have been deprived of their guaranteed freedoms in Hong Kong and currently residing in the U.S. are given extension of stay for up to 18 months. The move is a response to Beijing's crackdown on democracy in Hong Kong as the former British colony underwent subversion of freedom of the press over the last year. Biden also said offering safe haven is a further step of the United States' interest in the region. Embassy of China spokesman Liu Pengyu regards the White House's announcement as distortion of facts and grossly interferes in China's internal affairs. Pengyu said the national security law China imposed on the former British colony last year, following Hong Kong's pro-democracy protests in 2019, created a safer environment and protected freedoms. Meanwhile, British Foreign Minister Dominic Raab said the U.S. made a big heart decision as the United States joins other nations like Australia, Canada, and the UK in opening doors for Hong Kongers. The temporary safe haven falls under the United States program called Deferred Enforced Pathway to Citizenship, but can be renewed indefinitely by a president. Mariel?
Thank you, Annie Mancilia, for that live report. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Mariela Toza, live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
The Quezon City Local Government Unit has clarified that there is no existing mandate requiring its residents to present their vaccination cards to get a quarantine pass. Dante Amento tells us why.
A video of a woman uploaded by a certain Isabel went viral. Isabel took the video when she went to Barangay Central in Quezon City to get a quarantine pass this morning. The woman on the video is Gladys Dagaang, a barangay admin staff, which said that they will not give quarantine pass to the unvaccinated individuals.
Para lang po hindi kami masabihan na nagpapakalat kami ng fake news. Ano po yung patakaran? Paano po makakuha ng quarantine pass?
Kailangan po ma'am vaccinated.
Pero po, so pag hindi ka vaccinated,
Hindi po mabibigyan ng quarantine pass.
The uploader says the video is a proof that barangay officials refuse to give quarantine pass to those who have no vaccination cards. She stresses if it is an official policy that the barangay is implementing, the people have the right to know about it. But the uploader clarifies she was already vaccinated and received a quarantine pass. But she allegedly worries of the others who left due to lack of vaccination cards. Meanwhile, the barangay officials explain it was not true that they will not give quarantine pass to the unvaccinated. Barangay Chairman Rosa Magpayo added they are strictly following the guidelines from the Quezon City LGU.
Na ano lang yun, kumbaga sana naratel lang siya dahil alam niya na binibidyo siya. Parang nataranta siya magpaliwanag. Pero binigyan naman siya ng quarantine pass. Nagkaroon lang sila ng medyo hindi maganda yung ugnayan doon sa pag-usap nila nung nagsabi yung nag-viral na paano yung walang ano? Oo. Tapos sabi niya, yung kaibigan ko baka pwedeng ikuha ng quarantine pass.
The woman on the video admits her mistake, but her action was allegedly due to the provoking words of Isabel.
Ang nasabi ko na lang din po kasi is wala kasi ano siya bigla na lang po akong binidyohan ng ganun-ganun lang. Pwede ko naman po siyang paliwanagan ng walang video. Pwede naman po yun. Kaso bigla na lang, so naano na ako, parang nainis na lang din po ako din kasi sa kanya. Ang sabi niya, paano daw yung kaibigan niya? Paano ko nga naman po mabibigyan yung kaibigan niya? Kailangan po kasi siya mismo yung mabibigyan ko ng quarantine pass.
Meanwhile, Mayor Joy Belmonte clarifies that it is not mandatory to be vaccinated to get quarantine pass.
Sa Quezon City, preferably dahil mataas ang kaso namin ng dito COVID-19, preferably kung may bakunado mga member na pwede naman bigyan ng quarantine pass siya na lang para mas protektado. Pero kung wala naman bakunadong family member, kahit sino sa family na gusto nila. So walang ganung patakaran, walang rule na ganyan.
Belmonte added they have already reprimanded the barangay chairman, which should lead for the implementation of the guidelines from LGU and ensure efficient distribution of the quarantine pass and avoid possible confusion. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The local government of Las Piñas improved its vaccination system for residents lining up for vaccination. A number system was implemented to limit the number of individuals as well as adding more police personnel on site to maintain order. Meanwhile, residents who flocked to the vaccination sites in the city yesterday were encouraged to undergo COVID-19 tests. Marvin Calas reports.
If yesterday the queue of residents for vaccination went crowded and uncontrolled, today it is well organized and in order. A number system was also imposed to make sure that orderliness in the area is observed while the number of vaccinees are also managed.
When it comes to naman po sa vaccination natin, lahat po kayo ay sinisigurado po naming mababakunahan. Ang gusto lang po namin ay mag-ingat po kayo at magparehistro po tayo ng tama. At kung tayo po ay lalabas ng bahay para po magpabakuna, let us make sure na kayo po ay may dalang QR code at patient ID number. At make sure po na kayo ay nakaschedule para po maiwasan natin yung siksikan at yung disappointment na pagdating natin sa mga vaccination site ay hindi tayo mababakunahan.
The number of police officers and barangay personnel was also increased to ensure health and safety protocols are properly imposed.
Ngayon po kasi may number na po kaya medyo maayos na po yung tao at tinitingnan po namin yung social distancing at nakapila po sunod-sunod po para hindi po mag-clog po sa taas.
Mas okay po ngayon yung sistema po kasi sa totoo lang po pagdating namin namimigay na agad sila ng number tapos talagang disiplinado na lahat.
Aside from the system adjustment on vaccination, the local government also calls for the residents who flooded the vaccination sites yesterday to undergo swab testing.
The City Health Office po ay lagi pong nakahanda. Kung sakali po na yung mga tao po na pumunta doon sa pagdumog na nangyari sa mga critical sites kahapon, ay open po ang ating COVID hotlines. Pwede po kayong tumawag doon. Kung gusto niyo po magpa-swab, ang city po ay nagbibigay po ng free swab para po makasiguraduhan ng safety ng bawat isa.
Interested residents to undergo swab testing may inquire the Las Piñas City COVID-19 hotline at telephone numbers 899-457-82 and 0977-672-6211. Meanwhile, aside from Las Piñas, other cities in NCR including Mandaluyong and Pasig City continues their COVID-19 vaccination. Marvin Calas, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Partido Demokratiko Pilipino Lakas ng Bayan or PDP Laban may consider ousted President and Senator Manny Pacquiao as the party's standard bearer in the upcoming elections. Nel Marie Bohok will tell us why.
The ruling party, Partido Demokratiko Pilipino Lakas ng Bayan or PDP Laban, is not closing its doors to its former party president, Senator Manny Pacquiao. According to PDP Laban Secretary General Attorney Melvin Matibag, party members may still nominate Senator Pacquiao as standard bearer come the National Party Convention on September 8. Despite this, Matibag said the party leadership is already shortlisting him in its senatorial lineup.
Senator Pacquiao can be nominated, although I was saying we are also forming the lineup of the senators and we are considering Senator Manny Pacquiao as the strongest candidate for our senatorial lineup.
Matibag encouraged the group of Senator Pacquiao to attend the National Assembly if they want to nominate Senator Pacquiao as a candidate in the presidential elections.
Ang sa akin, I will renew my call to Senator Pacquiao and Senator Pimentel to participate and join the PDP Laban, the one PDP Laban, the only PDP Laban.
On the other hand, according to Matibag, the resolution of the National Executive Council seeking to endorse the tandem of Senator Christopher Bongo and President Rodrigo Duterte in the 2022 national elections has been approved. The said nominations will be presented in the coming PDP Laban's National Convention. The faction led by PDP Laban President Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi explained the need to continue the reforms started by President Duterte.
Maganda pa nga dyan, this will be the re-election of President Duterte's administration. Kung tingin ninyo, hindi maganda yung naging performance ng administration, then let's not vote for the candidates of PDP Laban na Go Duterte tandem.
According to Senator Go, his decision for the coming polls will depend on President Duterte's decision and to the Filipino people.
But as I have said many times before, I leave my faith to God, to the Dutertes, kay Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte at Mayor Sara Duterte kung ano man po ang kanilang magiging desisyon sa politika. And to the Filipino people to whom I owe this opportunity to serve our country.
Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte is reportedly also eyeing to run in the presidential elections. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG has apologized to Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso following the issuance of a show-cause order on the capital's anti-drug war, saying that it was an honest mistake. This report will tell us why.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG has withdrawn the show-cause order to Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso. This comes after media reports surfaced about the order dated July 9, 2021, directing Dumagoso to explain why he should not be liable for failure to comply with the standards for the anti-drug abuse councils in the city in 2018. However, Dumagoso was not the mayor at the time, but former President Joseph Erap Estrada. Mayor Isko was an undersecretary for the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD in 2018 and elected into mayor's office in 2019. In the memorandum released by DILG Undersecretary Rico Judge Echeverri today, in withdrawing the show cause order, he called the release as an inadvertent reissuance and an error. He explains that the show cause order for the 2018 audit was first released in 2019 when Mayor Dumagoso assumed office, as the audit was finalized and confirmed in the same year.
Hindi na po kailangan sagutin ni Mayor Isko Moreno ito dahil inamin na po na ito po ay honest mistake on the part of the office of Yusek Echeverri at ng kanyang staff.
DILG spokesperson Jonathan Malaya has apologized to Mayor Dumagoso, noting that there's no politics involved.
On behalf po of Yusek Echeverri, we would like to extend our apologies to Mayor Isko Moreno for the erroneous show cause order that was issued by Yusek Echeverri's office. Wala po tayo kailangan ditong i-ascribe as any political motivation, and I can assure the public and I can assure Manila Mayor Isko Moreno na wala pong itong hint or tint of political motivation.
The UNTV News tried to reach Mayor Dumagoso for a comment, but he has yet to respond. However, hours before the DILG issued the apology, the Manila mayor said in a television interview that there was no need for them to apologize, but noted that the error only proves that the country is going nowhere in the pandemic. For Dumagoso, the issue is now in the past and that they don't want to be distracted by what he calls a smokescreen. He also revealed that hackers allegedly attacked the city government's website for 133 times just before the chaos in a vaccination site in SM San Lazaro happened. This caused Dumagoso to postpone his oath-taking with his new political party, Aksyon Demokratiko. The Manila mayor earlier hinted that the vaccination chaos could be politically motivated. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In other news, the Department of Education has issued the calendar and activities for the school year 2021 to 2022. Rosalie Cos reports.
President Rodrigo Duterte has approved September 13, 2021 as the opening date of the school year 2021-2022 and will end on June 24, 2022 based on released DepEd Order Number 29. The school year has 209 school days for elementary and high school level, including Saturdays and a 5-day mid-year break. The enrollment period is from August 13 to September 13, 2021. Due to compressed school year, the conduct of distance learning activities for learners will be authorized on Saturday. Whether in partial or full scale, face-to-face classes will not be allowed except when permitted by the Office of President Rodrigo Duterte. Meanwhile, private schools, state, local, universities, and colleges have the option to implement or deviate from the DepEd school calendar. But deviation from it should be reported to the respective DepEd regional offices. Meanwhile, there's no certain timeline yet in the country when students aged 12 to 17 years old or younger population can be vaccinated against COVID-19. The Duterte administration said the country still has limited supply of vaccines, and even those in the priority groups cannot be accommodated all in the vaccination efforts. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
As the Delta variant threat persists, community pantries are also gearing up to continue the Bayanihan spirit amid the strict lockdown. Janice Inhente will tell us why.
Volunteers have already prepared and packed vegetables, rice, canned goods, and other food items that can be given to residents affected by the implementation of enhanced community quarantine. They will be loaded in a vehicle and will deliver to selected places. According to Ana Patricia Non, organizer of Maginhawa Community Pantry, they are now coordinating with the Quezon City local government for the PERB to distribute the goods.
Ang bago ngayon dahil may Delta variant, rolling yung pantries natin. Hindi na lang siya nakastay ng isang lugar, walang pila, tapos nag-house to house yung community pantry organizers. So yun, maingat na maingat, tapos no contact yung pagtulong. Tapos para naman sa magda-drop off ng goods, drop and go, alis na agad sila. Tapos kami na bahala mag-repack.
In addition to the security provided by the LGU, the volunteers who will distribute the food items will be wearing personal protective equipment and are vaccinated. The group continues to encourage others to help people in need.
pinupush ng community pantry pero medyo mahina yung dating ng mga donations. So yun, ini-encourage talaga namin lahat na kung kaya magtumulong sa pinakamalapit na pantries sa kanila. Tapos pangalawa, pwedeng bumili ng mga fresh produce sa farmers. Tapos pangatlo, kung hindi talaga makalabas, pwede magpadala ng monetary donations through Community Pantry PH. Tapos kami yung bibili ng gulay at bigas.
Meanwhile, a mobile community pantry was opened earlier by the Defend Jobs Philippines Group in Sampaloc, Manila. The mobile community pantry traveled to some areas to distribute rice, vegetables, canned goods, and other needs to our people. According to Group Speaker Christian Lloyd Magsoy, they tried to reach the local authorities, but the problem was
kumonekta sa kanila kasi wala rin naman silang malinaw na guidelines sa paano ang magiging sistema. So ang ginawa po namin ngayon sa mga barangay captains, nagpaalam kami, humingi kami ng pass para makapag-ikot kami sa mga areas na under ng kanilang barangay. So far yun, pinahintulutan naman kami ng mga barangay officials para makapag-ikot dito sa area ng Sampaloc.
The Department of Interior and local government is open to such initiative but reminds community pantry organizers to coordinate first with the LGU.
Dapat po ang pamimigay ng ayuda ng community pantry this time, during this lockdown, ay house to house. At dapat lang pong makipag-ugnayan ang mga community pantry organizers sa mga local government units, sa ating kapulisan at sa barangay para po matulungan sila sa pamimigay ng ayuda.
Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And before we close, we will leave you with a final word, giving glory to God. From the book of Psalms, chapter 46, verse 1, it says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Those are the reasons behind the news, August 6, 2021. I am Herlene Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold, I'm Angelo Castro III.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people, we give glory to God.